What up? It's your dude, Shallow Society, or just Shallow. It doesn't really matter what you call me, and wow. If you recently saw the 10th episode of The Rookie Season 7, you know damn well what happened in that episode. There's a fair warning to those who didn't watch it. Click off the video right now. Don't be leaving no dumbass dislike on the vid because I spoiled the episode for you. Dip now, leave, turn out, hell, matter of fact, toss your phone out the fucking window if you have to, because the shit that takes place in this episode, it won't necessarily blow your mind, but it sure shit will shock you. And if anything, this episode, with that one character, left you disappointed but not surprised. And of course I am talking about Seth Ridley. Since it wasn't explicitly stated in the show, nor do we really know the details of which year these events take place, we can assume that these events either took place in 2022, maybe late 2022, middle of 2023, or roughly around 2024. I would say we are in the later months of the 2024 calendar due to an AI program called Zuzu, which is available for general use by people around at this time. According to the official LAPD's website, which will be linked in the description, it takes 6 months of training to become a rookie police officer in the LAPD, followed by a 12-month probationary period. 6 months probation in police academy, 12 months probation under TO, 18 months probation total. Right off the bat, we see Seth mess up in several instances, such as contaminating a crime scene by vomiting on the pharmacy robber that overdosed, as well as the car crash on the highway, which he fails to assess the scene, as well as failing to take photos of the crash site and the wreckage from every possible angle, and his insubordination to a blood test, which we'll get into soon. There are two categories for mistakes when it comes to Seth: his actual mistakes and his intentional mistakes. I label these as mistakes, but it's also important to distinguish the actual mistakes, which can happen naturally as someone who's a rookie learning the ropes and basics, from the intentional mistakes, which were Seth's 3 lies to Lucy. Actual mistake number 1, contamination of a crime scene. Now, it's no secret that rookies will make mistakes on the job. It's a part of the learning process, and it's how we ensure ourselves that we don't repeat those same mistakes, which could cost us the job. Duh. Seth's first mistake, though involuntary, did cost the LAPD a clean crime scene. After both Seth and Lucy make their way to the car the pharmacy robber ran off in, Seth sees the suspect who has OD'd, and he vomits not near the car, but right into it.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
This costed the LAPD the crime scene, and it showed how nervous Seth was in general. Actual mistake number 2, tuning out. When all the units were responding to the highway crash call, Officer Juarez gives Officer Ridley instructions on how to take proper pictures of the scene. However, Ridley can't even help himself, so he does the bare minimum, which Officer Juarez calls him out on it, and he starts actually doing his job right. Intentional mistake number 1, lying about the overdose. Seth told Lucy this dumb lie about a girl he met and she overdosed, yada yada yada. However, a few episodes later, we actually see Seth tell Miles that that same girl that supposedly died from the overdose also died in a car accident. And surprise, surprise, this ties into intentional mistake number 2. Seth can't keep his story straight. And as soon as Seth starts slipping with his lies, Lucy starts putting the pieces together. And for some reason, Seth just likes to lie. We don't know why, but maybe he's trying to put up a facade to seem like he is someone when really he's not. Intentional mistake number 3, insubordination to a blood test. When it is revealed that Seth lied about his cancer coming back, Lucy admits to Lieutenant Gray that she thinks Seth is lying about his own personal life, and Tim also admits his suspicion about it too. Getting Ridley in a hospital room alone, Tim, Lucy, and Gray interrogate Seth about his lies, and Gray offers him a choice. Either take a blood test to show if Seth really has this cancer that is coming back, or don't comply and get fired. Whichever choice he decided on, he was going to get fired either way, and Seth threatens a lawsuit against the LAPD for, get this and put a pin in this because this makes no sense, medical discrimination for a supposed cancer that isn't traceable in the bloodstream, according to Seth's dumb brain. Good luck dumbass. Anyways, Seth is relieved of his badge and gun and is ultimately fired from the LAPD. All that training in the academy wasted. And if you thought this was the worst thing he's done, I got one more bullet in the chamber to shoot when it comes to Seth. If you remember the wildfire episode and everyone going crazy, Lieutenant Gray made the worst decision in his career when it pertained to the show, and it had to be letting rookie Ridley, letting him take all the calls when it came to high-end officials such as other precincts, the weather service, governors, mayors, elected officials, city officials, all that. And that wasn't the worst of it. This man knew that the route that Tim and Lucy took in the shop while the wildfires were going was dangerous. And he wrote it down on a piece of paper which route this was. That was his fuck up. But then instead of actually owning up to his fuck up, he doubles down on it by balling up the piece of paper. And when it came to visiting Tim and Lucy in the hospital, he says that the weather service didn't alert him that that route the duo went on was dangerous. And when Tim said that someone should get fired over this, Seth says that he already took care of that by yelling at the weather service personnel, which he didn't. He's too much of a wimp and shrimp to be yelling at anyone, much less people who monitor fires, winds, and screens. Now, let's actually get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Seth's lying. Why does he lie so much? One thing about Seth is that you start to realize why he lies a lot. He leeches off of people's pity when it comes to tragedy. He feels sorry for himself because he tries to fit in with other people, yet you can tell the way he acts, especially under pressure, his nervous side starts to come out. Seth has to lie to make himself relatable to other people, because who hasn't gone through a death of a loved one in their life, or who hasn't lied about being sick every once in a while? It's not uncommon to call out sick while not actually being sick, or the fact that you knew someone died except that you didn't know them all that well, so you make up a story that you kinda knew them, and Seth does this throughout the 7th season. On top of it, as much as Seth wants to be a good cop, he just isn't cut out for the job. This guy's equipment literally falls out of his uniform while he is chasing the Watcher, as well as him being a nervous wreck in front of Sergeant Bradford and stuttering like a nutcracker toy. The fact is, Seth is good at pretending to be a cop, but him messing up a lot reveals the cracks in his character. With him being late to roll call, being a nervous wreck in front of a sergeant, as well as puking into a crime scene, doing the bare minimum to collect evidence, pictures of an accident, calling out sick for severe cancer that he quote-unquote may or may not have, which I doubt he has, because if he did have cancer, he would have taken a blood test to save his job. And Seth really isn't cut out to be a cop at all. And you know what's crazy? Bradford even told Ridley that he wasn't meant to be here in reference to the LAPD, and I'll be damned, the foreshadowing came true. Now, speaking of, let's talk about the possibility of an unforeseen cancer. While most of the time there are early signs of cancer, either via psychological changes, health degradation, or via a doctor's checkup, there is a good chance that with routine blood work, cancer won't always be seen in the blood work, according to a scientific blog. Link in the description on that one. CBC tests don't catch cancers a lot of times. That's not to say they won't catch a cancer result every once in a while, but it would make sense that Seth was so nervous about this. Not just because he knew that maybe the test won't catch the cancer per se due to faultiness, but because Seth dug himself so far into the lies that he switched to a doctor who would lie for his patients if he really had to, and that would beg the question then. Who would believe a doctor who Seth knew had a shady background about lying for patients, especially with big illnesses? No one. As if that doctor's name isn't credible enough, one more big lie from this doctor, and he would most likely have his medical license revoked completely. And all this to say, while I give Seth just a pinch of salt when it comes to giving him the benefit of the doubt, I highly think that the cancer story is a lie. But I am completely open to being wrong about this. What are your thoughts about this episode in this season? I'm curious to know what you think, so do leave some comments. This is my synopsis of Season 7, Episode 10, Chaos Agent. Hope you enjoyed it, and later.